Hey y'all, today we have a quick little appetizer since the Birds aren't playing this week. We think give you a little bit of content from Philadelphia. Of course, it's honorable mention is Matt Rogers. Today I have Jeff Warren and my buddy Mike Fuji. Jeff Warren from Philadelphia Sports Table podcast show is the longest running Philadelphia sports podcast period in the game. Over 11 years has been doing it.
Nine and a half.
Giving me
a little too many
fake
years.
Fake news. I'm sorry. Alert.
Little too many years there.
Okay. Well, soon to be 11 years.
Yeah, getting there. Soon enough, my friend.
That's awesome. That's an accomplishment.
Oh, thanks. Yes.
Wow. Congratulations.
It's something else.
Seriously.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's great to be on, Matt.
Mike.
Seriously, you have been fantastic and been able to jump on our podcast to do some of our Eagles post-game shows over the course of this past season. It's been great to have you on. Great to be on Honorable Mention here. I listen on Apple Podcasts, and I know we're doing some video stuff right now, and hopefully some other people subscribe as well to the Honorable Mention pod.
Absolutely. So let's just jump into it. We got last week we saw some Gardner Johnson. We saw Gardner Johnson playing in the slot. Do y'all expect to see Avonte Maddox or Lane Johnson back, or should we, do you guys think we're going to need to win that divisional round to get them back to a potential championship game? I mean, let's
Mike,
go to
you want to go
Fuji
first
on that? Yeah.
Besides Jalen looking sore, I think Lane Johnson's the main piece on that line right now. Just protecting Jalen's, blind side and whatnot. It's, I don't think, I was listening to, Jacob Media today, and one of the guys on there touched on, Gardner Johnson can step right into the slot. And I know one of the questions you asked earlier about Reed Blankenship, I think he's fine in that safety position. As long as Chauncey Gardner's, as I said, stepping into that slot role. That guy's so versatile in the secondary. I can't wait to get this thing fired up.
Oh, right. And get Avonte back. Oh my God.
Well, here, if you don't mind, look, the Eagles defense, yes, they need CJ Gardner Johnson to go back, I think, playing safety full time in the playoffs, get back to the defense it was before the injuries, guys. Look, if Avonte Maddox isn't healthy for the divisional round, we may have to, bite the bullet on Josiah Scott, getting some playoff snaps. But Reed Blankenship, he's a better backup safety than Josiah Scott is a backup slot, if that makes sense, but it doesn't appear that CJ Gardner Johnson can really impact the game the same way from the slot as he did from the safety position. I think we've seen that. So if we want to see this defense close to its full potential as much as possible, CJ Gardner Johnson has got to get back to that safety position, I think. And I think while we're talking about this, we need to this highlights how important Avonte Maddox is to this defensive backfield, and him not on the field, that presence out there, a lot of the instincts that we get from him and see when he is on the field, we are absolutely missing that for sure. So look, Reed Blankenship makes some really good open field tackles. I think we've seen that. And in the end, I think he's going to be a solid depth piece for this team in the future. Hats off to the scouting department. That's what I'm going to say there with regard to that.
Right.
He's going to get snaps in the playoffs. That's crazy that this guy barely made the 53 and is going to get significant snaps in the playoffs. That's amazing.
Well, definitely an undrafted free agent, too.
Absolutely. I think it goes to show that he's coachable. And what does that mean for his future, not just with his team, but in the league, too? I think from the fact that this is his first year, there's a lot to be said for players that are coachable and are not coachable. I think Reed Blankenship is definitely one of those, Matt.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's just get into the rest of the league because the Eagles don't have to play this week. So we'll get back into the Birds, but let's talk about the people, the people who lost a lot, because we went on a 2-game winning streak and it was horrendous. But as an Eagles fan, that's as low as it's been this year. So let's just get into the rest of these other teams who played in this week. But in the national championship, the Bulldogs beat the hell out of TCU last night. Is there anybody you guys are thinking are on alert to get blown out? Let's go with Jeff first. Let's go with Jeff first on this one.
To get blown out, I mean, do I think it could be the New York Giants? I do, because I don't think the Giants have necessarily done anything throughout this season where they can get onto a football field and say, I'm dominant in this area. I'm going to be, we're going to put up a wall here to, just stop an offense, a defense. I think it has everybody, and I know it's only what the cover's like 3 points or something like that in that game. I think the Vikings have like
it's 3 points, yes.
But I think the Giants have every opportunity to get blown out here. Look, Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. I think he's a pretty darn good quarterback in this league. He's not necessarily the type of guy who is really able to get his teams that he's quarterbacking to the promised land in terms of the playoffs. But I think that this Vikings offense can absolutely destroy the Giants defense.
Interesting. Fuji, go ahead.
I mean, you figure a month ago they played and they just beat the Giants by a field goal, and but postseason so much different where everybody steps up their game, and Minnesota's been here before, not Justin Jefferson, but Dalvin Cook his rookie year against the Eagles, Cousins has been down this road, and it's when they picked up T.J. Hawkinson, I think he made a large bit of difference, besides
Absolutely.
Jefferson on that offense.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And as you said,
Fuji, who do you think? Yeah. I was going to say, who do you think is that team that could potentially get blown out? I mean, I think it's the Giants. What about you?
I mean, I think Buffalo's just going to drop the hammer on Miami. I mean, with everything they're going through, and Miami's just been up and down. They won 5, lost 5, and it's just like they're limping into the playoffs. Like, I mean, 2 or 3 concussions this year. Like, is the guy even like really right to play?
Should he even be playing football?
He shouldn't be.
Should he be out there? I don't agree
think so.
With you. I don't think so either.
I mean, you talk about a guy putting his career on the line, and these CTE stuff ain't no joke today.
No, and we just had the DeMar Hamlin situation where everybody apparently was very concerned about the players' safety and security and their long-term health. I mean, the guy we've watched Tua look wobbly way too many times this year. It's not good. Sorry to interrupt your point, but
you're right, because Miami, they took heat for letting him go back out the next week when he got hit again. Like, he shouldn't have even been in that game. I forget which back-to-back games they were, but he absolutely shouldn't be out there playing.
Let's get into some of these games we got this week, since we only have so much time, and this is an appetizer-sized episode for the people, because the Birds aren't playing this week, so we'll get to get some lighter action in. Seahawks are 10-point dogs in San Francisco. What are you thinking about that, Mike?
No, I just think I think San Fran's a team that's going to match up best with the Eagles. I mean, I think San Fran just comes out and drops the hammer.
Okay.
And I don't know if they cover, but I just think San Fran's probably the hot team in the NFC right now. I would have to say.
I love the storyline with regard to this game, because I think when you look at Geno Smith, when you look at Christian McCaffrey, 2 players who could possibly be the comeback player of the year. And I think there's a special story with regard to that, because they are 2 guys who, look, Christian McCaffrey is a special talent, but a quote underdog to a certain extent coming off that injury last year. We saw Geno Smith just in where his career was going. We saw him under center for the New York Jets, and you think to yourself, boy, there really wasn't too much promise. Now where he's at in his career, again, it goes back to the point I made earlier about coachability. Obviously, if a player is willing to be coached in a certain way and is able to have those enhanced relationships with coaches and how it all just manifests itself during the course of a season. We've seen that with Geno Smith. And I think this storyline of Christian McCaffrey, Geno Smith, both comeback player of the year candidates, I think it's going to be fascinating, actually.
Oh, it is. Like, just to talk about Geno Smith, I mean, the Jets, the Giants, he bounced around, and, he was fifth in the passing rating, I in the top 5, I believe.
Yep.
Amazing. What about the Chargers and Dougie P? Chargers are only 1 point favorites. They had a better record this year, but the Jaguars, division winners, who won that game, walking off on a play that I don't know what the tuck rule is. That's all I'll say about the outcome of that game. But what do y'all think about this game that's coming up? Let's not get into that one because we don't have the time for that.
Yeah, look at Dougie P here. Look at what he has done to an organization that has been floundering, coming off a terrible season where Urban Meyer was absolutely a disaster. And now this team is on the precipice, not just of a rebuild, but really, getting into the play. They could absolutely win this game, I think. I think Dougie P, given the right situation, the fact that it's a home game, they can absolutely win this game, beat the Chargers, and get to the divisional round. It would be astonishing to see.
I actually I actually think this game is the most intriguing because it's not only Dougie P, you got Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert. And I thought the Chargers were going to be a favorite in the AFC. All the injuries, all the adversity, and they're right there, and who the heck knows? But I just find this to be probably the most interesting game I want to see this weekend.
Oh,
even though it's not
stars all over the place.
The big names on the marquee, but
absolutely. Dolphins. Fuji already told us he thinks he's got the bill. Give us a score, Fuji, before we hear Jeff's take on this. Give us a score for the Miami Dolphins and the Bills.
31-13.
31-13. That's not really the hammer. I was thinking, you say the Bills drop the hammer because when that offense gets going, they can put up in the 40s. So
I mean, Tyreek Hill's hurt. I think Monster broke his. I know he got hurt.
I think it was a thumb.
Yeah,
I think it was a thumb. Yeah.
I mean, I just, Buffalo's on a mission. I think, I just think they're going to come out with guns ablazing. I don't want to get too much into the number 1 seed, but I kind of feel like Cincinnati and Buffalo got shafted with that number 1 seed with all this going on. But, that's a story for another.
So they're going to be angry.
Hey, you never know. I mean, they had a bad taste last year losing to KC. So maybe the stars are aligned.
Jeff, what do you think about this one?
I'm not sure the Dolphins score a touchdown. They're up in Buffalo.
Ooh.
Buffalo has an amazing inspirational story behind their backs. They want to do this for their teammate. And I think that storyline, much like the Philadelphia Eagles back in 2017 as the underdogs, and they brought out the dog masks. And I'm not saying that we're going to see that, of course, in Buffalo, but the inspirational story behind Damar Hamlin and what he now means to this team, what he means to the league, what he means to a lot of the sports world, I think is going to give them a lot of momentum. Like I said, without Tyreek Hill out there, who is an amazing weapon, arguably offensive player of the year. However, I don't even know that the Bills defense is going to allow them to score a touchdown. I think it's going to be like 38-9.
Ooh. All right. Bulletin board material. But again, the Dolphins, I agree with you guys. I don't think that they have the horsepower, even if they got angry, to put up multiple touchdowns. Maybe they make Jeff look like he's wrong because they put like a touchdown up.
And it'll probably happen. 16, yeah, it'll probably happen.
16-38. But at the end of the day, it's still a blowout. It's the hammer, as Fuji said.
Well, honestly, I just think they stumbled into the playoffs because New England lost.
And the Steelers, I would have much rather seen the Steelers go up to Buffalo.
Well, I think it would be more of a fight, but I just don't think the Dolphins have.
The Steelers would have gave them a fight. Tomlin would have gave them a fight.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
No question. Well, and so y'all both think the Vikings are going to roll over the Giants? Nobody's loving on the Giants. I'll be the Giants. I think the Giants. I'm gonna pick the Giants to win the game.
Oh, man! All right, what's your rationale for it?
Yeah, they're gonna come back to Philly, and then we put the hammer down on them.
Well, I mean, hey, if they can get a healthy Saquon Barkley rolling, who knows?
And it is Kirk.
inevitably.
I can't.
Yeah.
Well,
It is Kirk, but we also know, look, I mean, Daniel Jones better at protecting the ball this year, not turning it over as much, but I think that may come to an end here in this particular game. I can see Daniel Jones turning the ball over a number of times, and we know what happens when you turn the ball over in the NFL. The other team usually, in most cases, will win.
no, absolutely.
That Colts game encapsulates who the Vikings are on both ends.
Well,
It's a good point.
They can lose to anybody, and they can.
yeah, but
they can beat anybody.
you talk about overcoming adversity. A lot of teams would have laid down and rolled over and died, but that just shows a lot of character.
But it's not like they got thrown in a ditch. They like went and dug a very deep ditch, and like we're like, oh, I'm gonna like sleep here tonight.
Well, I don't want to really reiterate it, but let's go back to the '92 AFC Championship game. Houston's up at halftime, and Buffalo comes back and smacks them in the mouth. I mean, talk about and who led that? Who led that? That game was Frank Reich.
It's Frank
for Buffalo.
Frank, who might be OC again next year. Or
him and Fangio. Fangio, defensive coordinator. He's already a consultant. Just slide him in there. Bye-bye, guy.
What about the Bengals and the Ravens? Bengals are 6.5 point favorites here.
Bengals for sure. Bengals for sure. I think when you have a talented offense like they do and a guy like Joe Burrow, we've seen what Joe Burrow has been able to do in this league and throughout this season too. May not be the most dominant quarterback in the league for sure, but I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be the Bengals for sure.
I think
same.
I know the Bengals lost their left or right tackle this past week. I don't know if they lost Lyle Collins for the year, but, their bookends are kind of a little bit in trouble. And, Baltimore just signed Raekwon Smith today to that big contract.
Smith from the Bears.
I mean, they just gave him that big contract. So I don't know what's going on with Lamar, but that Baltimore defense, they can play lights out. So
I don't know why this one was the Sunday Night Football game one, because this one's not a real game. Sorry. Yeah. Cowboys, but the next one is the Cowboys and the Bucks. We got to get through this one quick. So who y'all taking in this one?
I hope both teams. Yeah, I hope both teams just implode. That's what I hope. I hope the stadium just goes into the ground. Both teams are going to be the demise. We're going to see that demise. No, I really inevitably. I hope it's the Bucks because I think, if the Eagles have the opportunity to play the Bucks or the Cowboys at some point down the road, Cowboys are always going to be difficult for the Eagles. It's a division rival. We know how that goes. Matt, you and I have talked on my podcast about that as well. It's just that is going to be tough. It is going to be tough. And I'm not ashamed to say it. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be tough to beat if they come to Philadelphia. That's going to happen. So I'm hoping it's the Bucks.
Greater joy if it does happen, though. I would enjoy beating the Cowboys a lot more than I would enjoy because this.
A great point.
Tom is
great
like.
Point.
This Tom is like, okay. This is kind of like the Target brand, Tom Brady.
Very true.
I want to be careful what I wish for, but I would love to get Dallas because backups in both games. Dak against Jalen, mano a mano, one-on-one.
Yes.
And I would love to get Dallas in the combat zone and whip their asses up and down the field and send them home packing with their tails between their legs. McCarthy, go get fired. Plastic face Jerry Jones, go sit on the couch. Go sit on the couch with Washington, and after the Giants get their tails get kicked in, sit on the couch, all three straight across. All three teams across the couch watching us in the bowl. We're hosting the NFC Championship game.
How else?
Great way to end this.
Right. End cap. Cut. All right. Have a great night.